Well, let's start with some background on Seed of Chucky. Seed of Chucky is 2004. It's actually well, hold on, let me do the math. That is 6 years after Bride of Chucky. Now, Bride of Chucky was a pretty big hit. It was pretty successful when it came out, made a lot of money. Chucky was everywhere on commercials again, on posters. It was a big buzz about Chucky. So you may be wondering why did it take 5 years to get to Seed of Chucky, or 6 years to get to Seed of Chucky. With most studios, of course, with horror movies especially, they'll churn out sequels quick as baking a pie once a year if they can do it, to try to get maximize as much money as possible. So why the long wait?
I have an answer. Don
Okay.
Mancini wanted to make sure everything was perfect for Chucky's return.
No. Well, maybe. I mean, hopefully. I mean, I would think maybe that is. The series does have some long breaks sometimes between the sequels. No, what happened was pretty interesting, actually. So 1998, Bride of Chucky comes out, success. Mancini immediately gets to work on writing his first draft, which was called Son of Chucky. He has the first draft done by 1999. And what happened was 99 was the year that the Columbine school shootings happened. Now, when this happened, a huge thing turned on to a huge attention or focus was put on the idea of, does violence in movies somehow inspire violent behavior with teens? It's a conversation that's always been around. Like, do video games have that impact? Do movies have that impact? But especially horror movies get thrown into that conversation a lot. So, of course, Chucky was owned by Universal Studios, or Universal, I should say, and the head of Universal at the time was a woman who apparently felt impacted in a way by the school shootings and by the conversation enough to basically want to move away from horror altogether. They had already at the time filmed the the Rob Zombie movie that you like, the House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yes.
They'd filmed that, and the head of Universal basically disowned the movie because of the violence factor. And so so basically wanted to move away from horror. So Universal for a while really shied away from horror altogether, basically. And that's why Seed of Chucky got put on the back burner, because they just didn't want to go down the horror route. But they also didn't want to sell the property to another studio. So they want to have their cake and eat it too, kind of keep it on the shelf. But Mancini was like, hey, give it to someone else then so we can make the movie. But so in 2002, Universal only had one thing that was even approaching horror, which was Red Dragon, which is actually like a Hannibal movie, Hannibal Lecter movie.
Yep.
So what happened then to get Universal back on board with Chucky? It's kind of ironic, actually. So it's very similar to what happened with Bride of Chucky. So Bride of Chucky got pushed to the front once Scream came out, was a big hit, right? Very ironic. 2003, Freddy vs. Jason comes out and is a huge hit. The Monday after Freddy vs. Jason came out, Universal's on the phone with Mancini, like, hey, you still got that Chucky script? Again, ironic, because obviously Ronnie Yu directed Freddy vs. Jason. So right. Ronnie Yu had a hand in helping to get Seed of Chucky off the ground indirectly. So basically by 2003, they're like, all right, well, Freddy vs. Jason brought Chucky back on board. So now here we have Seed of Chucky rushed into development. But Mancini had been working on the script the entire time. So by 2003, he had like drafts and drafts done of it. So, but Universal, again, wanted to have its cake and eat it too, slashed the budget. The budget was a lot less than what they had with Bride of Chucky, actually. And even they filmed in the UK and Romania to save money also. So that's why you'll notice kind of like there's more like sort of English actors in this, and like it does have a different look to it a little bit. So yeah, that's where we're seeing Chucky, kind of the background on it. Now, a couple things to mention is that the studio initially, looking at Mancini's script, wanted him to make it scarier. They're like, this is too comedic, throw in some scares. And he was like, no. He was like, after Bride of Chucky, right now, this has to go more, we have to lean more into comedy. And the studio wanted to make, they felt that Jennifer Tilly's character was too unlikable.
Well,
Well, that is true. The idea is for her to play basically a heightened, exaggerated version of herself. Right. She's playing Jennifer Tilly. So originally, I guess the script was even more stuff that would have made her unlikable. Like, apparently she was going to be on a diet, and because she was on the diet, she was going to be making her assistant like have to be on the diet also, even though her assistant like has no reason to diet. Like stuff like that to make her like over the top unlikable. But Mancini went through and tried to take things out like to make her less unlikable to please the studio, even though to me she still comes off as very unlikable.
All the human characters did.
Yeah. So, and I think we talked about Redman's in this movie.
Yes.
There's a movie that came out called How High.
Yep.
With Redman, and Mancini liked that movie. And then Redman had made a rap song where he referenced Bride of Chucky in the rap song. So based on that, but he originally wrote the part for Quentin Tarantino. Just that Tarantino, I guess, wasn't available to do it. But he wanted Tarantino in that role.
They should have gotten Tarantino for that role.
Well, they said basically that they contacted Tarantino, but Tarantino never responded. So Tarantino was like, "I'm not doing this damn Chucky film." Well, actually, who knows what the reason was? Maybe this filming something else. But so that's actually a kind of an odd pivot to go from Tarantino to Redman. But also Redman, like I said, being a celebrity just brings some value just with his name value and stuff. So
yeah, they did not use a Redman rap in this whole movie.
Really odd. Yeah, you would think that he would have made a tailor-made a song for the movie. But no, there's no Redman rap song where he's rapping about Chucky. It's like
Will Smith usually does a rap song with, well, at least in the older days, usually did a rap song with any movie he was part of.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's how we got Seed of Chucky, which again did not do very well at the box office. In fact, out of Seed of Chucky, it's going to be about 8 years before the next one, Curse of Chucky, comes out. So the movie didn't do that well at the box office, and also there was a huge backlash against the movie at the time from fans and critics, both alike. Kind of just didn't like the movie when it first came out. Of course, we're getting as we talked about earlier, we're getting the re-examining it now. If you go on the Chucky Reddit, there's a lot of fans of Seed of Chucky. But yeah, I went in with super low expectations.
So. I was hoping you were the only one.
No. I'm okay with all these movies getting the reimagining, except for Friday the 13th: A New Beginning. Stop trying to make that seem like a good movie. It's not a good movie, people. Stop trying to put that out there as a misunderstood masterpiece. I hate The New Beginning.
Just wait until they all say Leprechaun Origins is good.
I will not allow for that. Not that nonsense, okay? That is not even a real Leprechaun movie. That's not in the franchise. I don't know why that came in my box set. It doesn't belong in the box set. I threw it out.
I mean, we didn't even review it because it makes no sense to review it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the rest of the movies. Yeah, no. That movie is dead to me. So
this movie starts in a fallopian tube with a bunch of swimmers swimming to an egg.
Yeah, this opening, even going into like the opening of like, I guess they're almost referencing Halloween with like the point of view shot of Glenn going into the different rooms and stuff and killing the family. I didn't know what was going on, honestly. And the first like 5 minutes, I'm like kind of lost, like about what's going on in the movie, because you go from that, which was a cool sequence, but then ends with him pissing.
And the little girl screaming, "You're pissing your pants!"
I guess it's a nightmare that a lot of kids have had. Maybe, I don't know.
So you're telling me you've had nightmares where you went around, murdered an entire family, and when you get to the little girl, you piss your pants?
No, not the first part. I'm thinking about maybe like the nightmare would be like, say you're in school, like in a public setting, and then that happens and you just laughed at, and they all laugh at you. So that probably is a common nightmare amongst kids. The public shaming part of it.
Yeah, well,
you in the nightmare, you piss your pants, you run out of class, all the kids chase you and they scream, "Jamie's an orphan." You're like, "What? My name's not Jamie. I'm not an orphan. What the hell is going on? Like, why am I in Haddonfield?"
Come on, Jamie. Why are you so adamant of not letting them know your name.
I don't know. Well, okay.
But I
Anyway.
will say one of the neat things about this opening sequence is actually the very quick shot you get of Glenn as he turns to look in the mirror and then quickly turns around because he scared himself.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Yep.
actually a pretty cool shot because that was just very quick of what you're going to be seeing, and in that context, it's actually pretty creepy.
Yeah. So we cut to basically a film set where Chucky and Tiffany as dolls are being used in a movie, which is, I guess, the story of them, an urban legend of Chucky and Tiffany as the killer dolls, which I guess means that the events of Bride of Chucky are like that, because they say basically that they found the dolls at the scene of the crimes, pretty much, or something, and the urban legend is, okay, did they kill people? I've always wondered like how these murders got explained. It's still kind of weird, and I guess like I guess Jesse and Jade must have told their story to
Most
people, and
likely.
like that became like an urban legend that they're now making a movie of. Um,
Though they do
so
start, well, something's wrong with Chucky because he just kept saying the exact same line over and over and over again. And then
yeah,
Tiffany uppercuts a guy right in the nuts, which made me laugh pretty damn hard because his face was, oh,
yeah, this is actually funny stuff. And even though in these first few minutes, it takes me a few minutes to realize what the tone is at first, like because that very opening with Glenn the Nightmare, it wasn't really comedic, so I didn't really get a sense of like, okay, is this going for horror, is it more for comedy from that? But by the time you get to Jennifer, you can tell, okay, this is going to be a little more comedic for sure.
well,
Um,
to be fair, at the moment, his name ain't Glenn yet. It's Shitface.
yes, yes, and that this is where the movie really awakens for me is when Chucky and Tiffany are awakened by Shitface. Um,
and Chucky's just going to town on him. Just insult
Chucky
after
making
insult.
fun of himself basically by questioning who the parents are of what he considers to be a ugly child.
And even
Um,
and even Tiffany just is looking at him like, how have you not figured this out yet?
right. Um, yeah, from that point forward, I'm kind of on board because you get basically, I mean, he quickly realizes that his parents are killers because they kill some random person who's trying to examine Tiffany.
Which that was a pretty cool effect of him taking off the back, and you just see that spine.
Right. Although I guess it should be thought of, or should be asked. I was wondering when Tiffany and Chucky first come to life, they see each other and it's like, Tiff, Chucky. If we recall, the last time they saw each other would have been when they're killing each other in the cemetery in Bride of Chucky. All is forgotten apparently, and they're back as a happy couple here.
Of course, you know why?
Also,
Because they had 6 years to work out their differences in hell.
they were not conscious. They were just like in a coma, basically. I would
They
think.
were
I mean,
in hell.
do you think in the periods between when Chucky's dead that he's in some like
Purgatory
hellish
esque.
place?
Yes,
Huh.
if you believe in hell, of course.
No, but even then, it's weird though because I would feel like when Chucky dies, it's like he doesn't really die. He just kind of goes dormant. It feels like because he can be summoned back to life. It's like it doesn't feel like he's dead. It just feels like maybe yeah. He's just like I look at it like him being put in a coma almost. Like he's just
Well, look at
unconscious.
well, let's look at Freddy real quick because Don Mancini is a big Freddy fan. He's even
Yeah,
had there's even an article saying he wants to do a Chucky versus Freddy movie.
yeah,
And and Freddy, we find out in Freddy versus Jason that Freddy is technically in hell when he's dormant.
yeah. Freddy is in hell, and yeah. So that's true. I guess okay. So we'll go that then. Because it feels like when they wake up, it feels like they're waking up from like a long nap.
Well, they
But
are.
okay,
I mean, I guess they're technically waking up from an eternity of hellfire and brimstone, if you believe in that. But no, overall, it makes more sense because then, as you just brought up, why would they not be already at each other's throats again?
Yeah. If they literally just had been unconscious, their last memory would have been like basically Chucky getting shot, but then it would have been that cemetery, and we know he basically killed her in the cemetery. So, um, for the purpose of the movie, better left for them to, yeah, like have somehow made amends in hell, we'll say, and like now they're cool again because we want them here to be basically a happy family, or
Uh,
trying to be a happy family.
I mean, to be fair, Chucky's always happy when he gets to do what he wants, but the whole point of this movie seems to be, besides trying to get human bodies so they can be the happy family, is Chucky still wants to kill Tiffany does not, because Glenn says it's wrong.
Well, yeah, Glenn asked Chucky, is violence bad? And Chucky says, no, no, violins are bad. They're killing the country,
They're
which again,
killing
hilarious.
they're killing music, even though violence has been around since music's been around. So
Right. Yeah, the movie, I mean, it still has the thing of them wanting to get in the human bodies, but it is more about kind of like just family dynamics and like addiction in a way. Like the movie's about addiction, but it's funny because it's the addiction to killing. In Chucky's case, it's like, you know, he can't stop killing. And you're right, they want for Glenn to not, or Tiffany wants for Glenn to not be a killer. And Chucky wants to be an old chip off the block. Chip off the old block. Is that the
yeah,
saying?
yeah, you're pretty much getting two different sides of the addiction. It's, one side says, I don't have a problem. I enjoy it. My problem is you're stopping me from doing it. And then Tiffany's side is, I have this kid, even though I like doing it, I have to stop for this reason.
But Tiffany wants to have her cake and kill it too because she guts Redman. She guts Redman
So,
in the middle of being like having already pledged to like. It gets to one of the problems I have with the movie. I would say is that I don't like any of the human characters at all. Like, in fact, I despise all the human characters. Anytime it's like not focused on Chucky, Tiffany, and Glenda or Glenn, I hate everything else in terms of the characters.
I mean, are
But
we
when it's
really supposed to like these characters anyway? I mean, obviously, we're not supposed to like Red. I guess we're supposed to feel something for the driver, even though we get nothing with him.
I think I don't think we're supposed to, but I think the movie works better always if it's like a likable character being tied to the bed and actually in jeopardy. It still adds a little bit more tension to the movie versus like them tying up characters that you actually actively don't like at all. Um, so I don't know. I prefer the movie would feel like it has more stakes if like, okay, they're trying to get in the bodies of people that we actually like as humans. Um, but I guess them being unlikable fits the tone better since we're just going all out. I would call it the black comedy, dark comedy in this movie. So I mean,
Well, yeah,
there's no pretense of horror here. This is definitely full blown
right.
comedy.
But we're still getting our full plan with Tiff wants to be Jennifer Tilly because
Yep.
she has such a beautiful voice, apparently.
Yeah.
And even what's even
um.
funnier is even Chucky is saying in this movie says the exact same thing I said. It's like, have you heard her voice?
Yeah, man. Chucky has so many good lines. Brad Dourif just looks like he's having the time of his life in this movie.
And then you
Like
got
given this dialogue as Chucky has to be probably feel amazing.
right, and then you got Chucky going is supposedly supposed to jump into Redman's body. The most evil that they did in this movie, in my opinion, is forcefully inseminates Jennifer Tilly to make her give birth, so that way they can put Glenn into that baby.
Well, yeah, if they're gonna become humans, they need their child to also be in a human body as well. Um,
Why not get a 5-year-old? I mean, the person that Glenn's already 6, so get a 6-year-old.
well, Chucky's gone down that route and seen how hard it is to actually. Don't
But
forget
just
the
don't go
first
after Andy anymore.
easier said than done. I mean, the man couldn't even get himself into Andy Barkley and all the attempts he did. So it's like, I think Chucky doesn't want to go down that route. He's like, I gotta find a 5-year-old again. Jeez.
Well, let's go ahead with even more comedy with the fake Britney Spears death.
Oops, I did it again.
because she's
Classic.
sitting there flicking them off. They're just driving around. Finally, Chucky just gets annoyed.
So basically, when the movie came out, the Britney Spears, like the representatives, like basically made the studio like do an ad or something where pretty much like established that that's not the real Britney Spears. They didn't want anybody to associate the real Britney Spears with Seed of Chucky. So they did like a commercial, a funny commercial where it was like they said no actual Britneys were harmed during the making of this movie.
Honestly, I kind of
And
wish it was the real Britney Spears though.
then Chucky had a thing on MTV where he's like, look, with Britney, it's a love-hate thing, mostly hate. So that was like a Chucky quote. So, but I think that's funny about that is I think it kind of goes with remember Brian Chucky was complaining about modern music.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of, if you think about it, it's like an extension of that. Like he's like, this damn current pop music, like I don't know, it's funny.
And then kills off Britney Spears.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if like I was questioning my own sense of humor because I was like, why is this movie so funny to me? I don't understand. Every line of dialogue and everything is making me laugh, and I'm like, something like not what? Because I've seen like other I've seen other reviews over the years and stuff where like I've seen people say basically like like, oh, the humor doesn't work here and it's too much humor, and I'm like, yes, you have to approach it as a comedy. That's the thing. You can't go in thinking, oh, this is gonna be a child's play movie with like horror and stuff like that. It's strictly a comedy.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I hate to say it, but the comedy was landing for me. I was like laughing all throughout for some reason.
Oh, the comedy's landing, but you know what else lands? Some of these kills.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the sulfuric acid death.
Woo.
I mean, when it happens, it looks fake, but when they're like taking the picture with Glenn's like, yeah, that's my boy. The effects look so damn good.
I went back and watched that scene on YouTube, and someone had a funny comment saying like, Chucky turned the guy into Freddy Krueger. It's like, so yeah, his face looked like Freddy.
Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah. It was it was pretty creative thing, and the effects did look pretty good there. So
especially since it wasn't even a real death, really. It was Glenn trying to warn these guys, like, "Hey, don't." Glenn's so butt ass ugly. The guy falls backwards and gets sulfuric acid all over him.
Yeah. So basically, again, most of the movie is Chucky coming to terms with his addiction as a killer, but also like that he's trying to turn Glenn to what he wants him to be. He wants him to be a killer.
I mean,
But
that's
obviously he's very hesitant to do so. So
that's it. At the end of the day, that's every parent. It's like, I am going to make you like me so you can survive in this world like I have.
Chucky actually says something interesting though. At this one point, he says like, he's like, it's a family tradition or something like that. It's like he hints at the idea that killing has been like passed on through generations of his family.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's too good at it.
Yeah. Although, so a couple of cool things in the movie, I would say, is that we get a realization, we get a kind of a moment of Chucky where he basically announces that like, hey, I dig being Chucky the Killer Doll. I don't want to be a human anymore. This kind of changes the rest of the franchise because like they're letting go of the idea of Chucky being like, listen, I'm no longer gonna just like wake up and be like, okay, I have to get my body I have to get into a human body. Like he's cool being a doll now, which changes the whole franchise. Like, okay, we can get away from every plot has to be them getting into a human body, even though he says it and Tiffany's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So she just shits on the whole speech that he gives. Basically, it's like, no, she's like, I want to get a human body. But I like that. I like that Chucky's like, I want to be a doll. I like this.
Right, like I said, that speech is actually really good for the context of the movie going on because he's sitting there trying to do this spell. Cops are now showing up. Glenda has appeared and burnt down the woman.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. With her assistant Joan, who was like actually a pop singer in the UK. So I think they wanted to do some kind of death where she could show off her vocals, like such screaming and stuff. So, so that's that.
Burned her alive.
I thought she could have been the protagonist because she was likable enough, but then they just don't like she's not in the movie enough. Like she kind of goes in and out so quickly that you're like, oh, okay, you got to probably feature her more. But probably the only decent human being in the movie, I feel like. So, which
It's
makes
only
it, I
because we
guess,
don't see her at any.
yeah. But I mean, she's definitely a caring assistant. I mean, she showed up there after getting fired and then got fired
Again.
again in real life. Yeah. Well,
And that's when they find out that Glenn is also Glenda, and Glenda is Glenn, both in the
that
exact same body.
that reveal and Chucky's reaction again, it was hilarious. um, yeah, there's a lot going on here, and I guess like the whole thing with this end is like we know that they can't really be a happy family. First of all, Chucky and Tiffany always end up having beef. There's no way they can even stay together. So we have to have things happen here to break them up. So
I think I know why they always have beef. It's because they are both killers. And when they see each other, they just want to rip each other's throats out. They don't
yeah,
actually like each other. It's just, the only thing they like is the fact that the other one is giving them a way, someone to fight against. It's making it more fun for them.
yeah, and they can get along in short spurts, but yeah, we saw even in Bride Chucky, like they cannot keep the harmony for long.
And that proves it in this when, she tells Chucky, look, I'm leaving and I'm taking Glenda with me. And Chucky
Chucky's immediately like, nobody leaves me.
And then they get to the hospital.
Did you love this Shining moment?
Yes. Rip off The Shining, and Chucky just looks like he's about to say something. He goes, I don't have a thing to say.
Again, I don't understand why because I was expecting just to be like, here's Chucky.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, say
this is gonna be so predictable. And they just like they took it in an unpredictable way. So I thought that was pretty good. This ending is a bit confusing because I was thinking about this. So he puts the axe into Tiffany Doll's head, right?
Yes. And she is apparently still in the doll.
Well, so Tiffany is giving this speech as she's dying to Glenn or Glenda.
Glenn.
And she uses the words, "Don't be like your mom and dad." So, but are we to take it that basically that she successfully made the transformation here, and that she went into adult Jennifer Tilly's body, and that it is Jennifer Tilly who's in this doll? Because she says don't be like your mom and dad. She's talking as if the mom and dad is somebody else.
Well, the other thing I was thinking is, what if the soul, because it's voodoo magic, usually voodoo magic needs some kind of sacrifice. What if, in order for the spell to fully work, the body they are currently in has to be destroyed first or killed first?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the one thing that makes me think that that's still Tiffany in the doll at the end is that before she dies, she gets the last shot in that Chucky. It's like, don't be like your mom and dad, especially not your dad. She had to diss him one more time before dying.
Yeah, that's why I think that the spell only fully works once the body you are currently in is dead, and then your soul can transfer over.
Okay. Yeah, because we know at the very end, obviously, Tiffany is in Jennifer Tilly's body.
Yes.
So what do you think about this mini fight scene with Chucky and Glenn, where Glenn just destroys him?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how come every single time Chucky gets into any kind of physical altercation with anybody, we're seeing throughout all these movies, he does have some form of strength. And yet he always gets his ass handed to him when it comes to an actual physical fight.
Well, here's the thing. In this scene, I mean, Glenn is like John Wick, though. Come on. I mean, he's got like the music comes on. He's got these Matrix level skills. I think the thing about this scene is like I was watching. I was like, I don't think Chucky wants to fight him. I think Chucky killed Tiffany, and now is going to try to be cool with
Glenn.
Glenn. But Glenn loves his mom so much, he's me like, okay, I'm going to kill Chucky. But I don't think Chucky really wants to like fight him here. It's kind of, it's not sad, but it's kind of like,
Well, even
damn.
what's funny is he immediately thought Glenda because Glenda was the one with the killer instinct. He's like, no,
Right.
it's your boy.
And he's even
Glenda
kind
has,
of proud. He's proud of him as he chops him into pieces. So
yeah, it's like,
he's like,
I'm
"Got it, boy."
ready. And then his head
Yeah,
comes flying off.
it's a pretty decent ending, honestly. I mean, especially although, I mean, when we cut to like the future here, basically,
5 years later.
clearly, yeah, yeah. So basically, Glenn even says like, or Glenn or Glenda, that's Glenn says that, mom even got to be the actress that she wants to be. So clearly, they're saying that okay, this is Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly's body.
Mm-hmm.
They kill the poor helper maid.
Housemaid, yeah, or the nanny.
It seemed kind of cruel, but
Well, it did, and I don't know why. I mean, it shows that Jennifer is still a serial killer.
yeah, but it's like, man,
But then you get freaking what was that?
Chucky's arm.
Did I
What?
hear something come from? Did something speak over on your side?
No, I
Oh
don't think so.
shit. Okay, I'm hearing shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
then Glenn. It's Glenn's birthday. You would think with them being twins, they would mention that it's Glenda's birthday too, but
right.
they don't. They only say it's Glenn's birthday.
True.
But yeah, it's Glenn's
I
birthday.
might. When you were a kid on your birthday, did you ever get arm, an
A,
arm
s-
of a doll?
a severed arm?
Yeah. I asked
No,
for it, but I never got it.
no. So I actually have a funny story to tell you. It was I was playing in the middle of the road, right? It was I think it was my 11th birthday, whatever. Playing in the middle of the
Mm,
road. My dad
mhm.
and you've seen where I used to live. There was only 3 houses there. So while
Yes.
while playing, my dad tells me, "Hey, get out from the middle of the road. Someone's going to run you over." No one's going to run me over. I'm just a kid.
Mm.
So he gets in his truck, backs out of the driveway. I think he's going somewhere. Until I realize he's gunning his truck right at me.
Holy cow!
So I jump out of the way, and then he stops, rolls his window down, and looks at me in the eye. And goes, "If I'm willing to run you over, anyone is."
Mm.
And
Wow.
you know what that
Jeez.
taught me? One, don't play in the middle of the road, and two, be careful of your dad because his severed arm may come up and start choking you.
Life lessons, man. The things we learn as kids, man. I'll tell you what.
And that's exactly what
Uh,
happens here. Chucky starts choking out his son with a severed arm.
it's interesting. It's like it's like who sent the damn arm? It's like yeah.
Chucky did. Chucky put himself back together, except that one arm's like, I'm going to get them.
And it took him 5 years to do this. Like it's still the severed arm. Like 5 years
Yes,
later.
yes. He didn't
Um,
express it.
it's I guess it's a fun tease for what's to come. I guess. Um, well, yeah. I mean that's Seed of Chucky. So I mean I guess jump to our final thoughts. I guess.
Alrighty, well, since you kind of gave your final thoughts, I mean, no, you didn't give them all. I'll go ahead and do it.
Okay.
So, for me, Chucky, Tiffany, and Glenn are the three reasons why to watch this movie. Because their interactions together are fun, they're funny, and the kills are actually really good. And that's surprising considering the fact this is a pure comedy. You
Mm-hmm.
you think this is a horror movie, you're going to be disappointed. For some reason, because I was still when I first put this movie on, I was still expecting it to be horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it and I actually had a good time with this movie.
Mm.
It surprised me to the point where I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why am I laughing at this? Why is it fun? Why is it good?
Ditto.
And what did people actually hate about this movie? And to be fair, it's the other half of the movie where Chucky, Tiffany, and Glenn are not in. It's all the human stuff. Because those
Yeah.
characters are just despicable, nasty, and deserved everything they got. And no one should say that about characters. So I like it more than Bride of Chucky, but I can't give it anything over what I gave Bride of Chucky, and that's 2 stars. It's a fun
Mm,
movie. It's a fun movie. I'm probably going to watch it again just for laughs.
mhm.
And yeah, that's about it. I am also looking forward to watching Curse of Chucky next week.
Oh yeah, and that's interesting. That's gonna be an interesting change for sure with that.
It's
Yeah, I
probably
mean, listen, I think that. Oh, you guys just got.
I was just going to say it's probably going to be a culture shock just coming off of a straight comedy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I expected to hate this movie just from everything I heard about it, and seeing it back when it first came out, I remember not liking it back then, and for years I kind of just parroted the same thing everybody does. It's like Seed of Chucky is a terrible movie. It's a low point in the franchise, but ditto on just like going in with no expectations and having a lot of fun with it. Just being like, wow, I don't know why, but the humor's landing big time. Now, I have to say, even though the humor lands, I don't think it's a good movie because I don't think the characters, for the most, I think I said earlier, the movie focuses on Chucky, Glenn, and Tiffany, and it does right when it focuses on them. Their interactions, the family dynamic, everything going on there is pretty good stuff. Actually, it's funny, but also there's a lot of a lot of character development there, a lot of stuff like actual like things you can kind of sink your teeth into. And the kills are pretty good, but there's really not much of a plot though overall. And like I said, all the human characters are like I would say not even bad. I would say almost like annoying. Like just hate them all basically. So I still don't put it on the Bride of Chucky level, but I'm gonna go with the 2 stars also. And I was expecting like a 1.5 stars, but the movie, if you approach it as a deranged family sitcom or like just a straight black comedy, there's definitely value there. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go 2 stars too. I think if it is the low point of the series, it's a pretty good low point. Like it doesn't sink to the depths of hell like Halloween Resurrection per se.
Or
So
Scream 4 did.
yeah. So well, wait a minute now. Hold on, buddy. Don't try
Got
to
ya.
slip. Don't try
Got
to
ya.
slip in some Scream 4 hate. All right, none of that.
Got ya.
I will not.
Because you
Tolerate.
agreed to it real quick before
I
you
did not
realized
agree.
what I said.
No, 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 no. I thought you said scary movie 4. I didn't know.
Well, any
Uh,
scary movie.
well, yeah. So yeah. So I mean, 2 stars from me. But again, if you're expecting horror and if the humor doesn't land for you, then you're gonna hate this movie. The humor has to land on you for you to enjoy this. Otherwise, it's not gonna. So it's subjective. But I mean, I like the humor in Freddy's Dead, so of course I'm gonna like this too. This feels like a Freddy's Deadish type black comedy. So, but yeah, pleasantly surprised overall, and yeah, now when I partake in online communities, I'm going to feel a need to defend Seed of Chucky going forward.
Well, as always, when you don't have to go home, you do got to go get yourself a Jason lamp, plug it in, and watch all the pretty colors come out of the mask.
And if you're sick, get some chicken soup, record the podcast that you got to do, and then go right back to bed. And just don't trust Advil because it doesn't get rid of the headache that currently is destroying the inside of my head. So,
Also, one more thing to remember: Abigail's currently in theaters. Go watch it.
oh yeah, Nick had a good. Well, let's. Well, I guess we'll save our take for that once we eventually do a review for it. But you had a
Yeah.
good time with it, I understand.
Yes.
So, good stuff.
That's all I'm going to say about it. Because if I talk about it, there will be spoilers. So pace.
I don't want that. So.